All righty, good morning and welcome to the How Can I Support My Child series. Welcome to a beautiful day. Welcome to a brand new week and welcome to the show. The How Can I Support My Child series is that show where we answer the questions that parents ask about how they can be effective parents to their children and how they can support their children to become everything that God has created them to be, at least to become the best versions of themselves. The relationships that we build is going to affect our lives. And the earlier we start teaching children how to build or how to foster good relationships, the better for them. The more we foster relationships that will support our children, or the more we understand the need to foster good relationships that can support our children, the more we become advantageous to our children. Dear parents, you can be an advantage or a disadvantage to your child. So the question is, what do you want to be to your child? An advantage or a disadvantage? Welcome to the show. My name is Mary Chima. I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship and PTM Resources, and the show starts now. Today, we are talking about how do I start on a good note with my child's teacher. In the next few days, if it's not started happening already, but of course, if you are in North America, your children should be in school already. I think some schools in the UK. Okay, so children are already going back to school. Even in Nigeria, children in American curricula run school are already in school, right? So yes, our children are already going back to school. Some of our children have not gone back yet. Okay, so this is for you if you're that parent that your child hasn't gone back to school yet, and even for you who your child has gone back to school, all right, this will still play, or this will still come in handy for you. How can we build a relationship, or how can we start on a good note with our children's teacher? Before I share 5 things that you could do to start on a good note with your children's teacher, let me say this to you, dear parents. See, picking or thinking of where the right place is for your child is something that you do not want to play with. Picking the right school, I know it's late right now by now you should have sorted out school and all of that. But this is me trying to remind you, or trying to make you look again closely, right? To know that the environment that you decide to put your child is going to play a huge role in the child's life, especially for your young children, because we are here for parents of young children and preteens. So, yes, especially for your young children and your preteens, all right, it still applies to your preteens, all right. Now, it's very important the environment that you put your children in, because what you say when you take your child to an environment is that I trust this environment, I trust the content of this environment, and so I want my child to imbibe, to internalize, to take on the traits and the characteristics of the people in that environment. Because whether you are saying this or not, verbally to your child, this is what it implies when you put your child in an environment. So the environment will supersede your values if you do not pay attention to these things. So a child can come with all of the values that you have taught them, they have internalized or they have imbibed from home. If you put them in an environment that will constantly challenge them, an environment that will constantly challenge them and will constantly put them on the edge, it's a matter of time. They are children. It's a matter of time. The chances are that your children will cower in, right? Chances are that your children will fall by the side. So do not deliberately put your child in an environment that will not allow your child thrive. An environment that is constantly putting the child under pressure, an environment that is constantly challenging the child. When that is the case, it does not give the child the room or It doesn't give the child the room to thrive because the child is constantly fighting. The child is constantly in that fight or flight mode because you have put them in an environment that is overbearing. So the choice of the environment where we take our children to is very critical. Now, there is another caveat to it also, that if you do not pay attention to this and you do not invest your research, you're visiting that place and asking questions. If you don't invest all of this into this decision of which environment to put my child, what you would do is you will put them in environments and you will find that somewhere along the line that environment is not okay for the child, and you will move them from that environment. Now, if you still do not learn after moving your child from one environment to the next environment, you are still in that place where you are not knowledgeable. You are still in that place where you are still winging things. You're still in that place where you are not doing your homework. You're still in that place where you are still guessing, and doing all of that. If this is the case, your child you will cause a situation in the life of the child where instability will become a thing, because for every time you have to, get into a system, find out that the system is not good enough, then move from that system. Now, get into another system, find out that one is not also good, then you move from that one. Then get into another system, find out that one is not good, and you move from there. What you are doing is you are introducing instability in the life of your child. So your child becomes an unstable person because somewhere at the back of their mind, how your child receives this training, okay, how your child receives this training is simple. Anytime it is not working for you, move. Anytime it is not comfortable for you, move. Anytime you're not enjoying it, move. Every time it seems difficult, move. So a lot of times we introduce our children to that to that lifestyle where our children do not put in extra effort to anything, where our children do not have staying power, where our children opt out every time that things are not going their way. So you see, in many cases, we are the ones that introduce inconsistency, lack of stability, the inability to fight back. We're the ones that introduce all of this to our children by the things that we do earlier in their lives, by the kind of foundation that we have built or the kind of foundation that we have created for them. So this is why you want to do the homework. That's what we're trying to say. We're not saying if you find that a place is not right for your child, let them remain there so that you don't cause instability or inconsistency in their life. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, how about doing the right thing, right, when you have the time and the opportunity before you even get them into such system? How about taking time and paying attention to what your child really truly needs before you dump them in a system? How about you doing the work? You are the parent. How about you researching and picking the right system for your child so that you do not have to keep moving and moving and moving? Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because, of course, I am an educator. And of course, I've been in the school system. All right. I know how, it is that even children themselves, you will see a child get into trouble, or you will see a child struggle with a particular, teacher situation at a time. And you will see children to tell you the audacity that they have and to tell you how, the power that some children wield. The children will actually say to you, I'm going to leave the school. So for some children, it's as simple as, the way we change the domestic staff in our home. The way one staff has done something, and then the children report to you as their parents, and then you come in, and then you get all upset. They said you did it, and then the next thing you sack that staff. The next one comes and all of that. So your child has seen you change staff. I mean, your 10-year-old has seen you change, these people that work with you 10, 12 times in 10 years. So somewhere at the back of their mind, it's not just at the back of their mind. And then they have gone to, your 10-year-old has already been to 4 different schools at different points. Not because you changed location, not because there was anything, change location or anything like that. In one city, you have moved every time you felt, oh, this is not working, that is not working. The teacher talked about what my child was eating. Oh, the other day, one teacher said something. Oh, the other day, I heard, you keep moving. So, whether you like it or not, directly or indirectly, you are serving to this child that this is how the world is. This is how life works. And so, boom, every time it's not working, move. Every time it's not serving you, move. Every time it seems difficult, move. When the teachers are giving too much work, move. So our children actually say this to teachers: I am moving, I will leave, I'm not coming back to the school, and all of that, because this is what we have given permission to. Now we come here after that, and we sit down as adults, we sit down as parents, and we're having conversations, and we're talking about how this Gen Z, they don't show any signs of commitment, they don't show any sign of, no, they don't have resilience, they don't like hard work, they don't commit to anything, they are not loyal to any system, and all of that. Where do you think that our Gen Z children, where do you think that our children are getting all of this from? They are seeds that we sowed. You know how it is. They are seeds that we sowed ourselves. And you know the multiplier effect, right? Whatever it is. I mean, it's not just, it's principle. It's actually even scriptural, that right, your children will be better. When you give, they will multiply, isn't it? Right? When you give, they will multiply. Whatever it is, we are multipliers as human beings, isn't it? So whatever you give, I mean, even God says we should be fruitful and multiply. So whatever talent you have been given, your job is to multiply that talent. Whatever it is that you have been given, whatever training, whatever support you have been given, the mandate is that you take it and you multiply. So yes, when you introduce inconsistency, you introduce lack of commitment, you introduce, walking away from everything that doesn't serve you, your children will multiply it. So they will multiply it. So for you, it has to be you stayed 1 year, and your child will stay 1 week and wants to move. Your child will continue to move, because these are the things that you have introduced the child to, or you have made something that happens in your home. So please, what we're saying, dear parents, is not keep your children and enslave them because you don't want you want consistency. We are saying do the work that needs to be done, do the groundwork that needs to be done, do the things that should be done, put the things that need to be in place, and then that way there will be no need. You are able to trust the system. Don't put your children in a system that you cannot trust. Don't put them, okay? So we'll be looking at some of those things. All right. So number one way that you can foster a good relationship between you and your child's teacher, all right, in the new school year, is number one thing you want to do is you want to key into that relationship as early as possible. All right. So the early building effects, all right? So you want to key into that relationship as early as possible. So school has resumed, okay, school's resumed for 1 week. You've not been able to meet your child's teacher. 2 weeks, you've not been, or school hasn't resumed. Lucky for you. What you want to do is you want to create a personal touch to the relationship between you and your child's teacher as early as possible. Now, when I say personal touch, am I saying you should go and befriend your child's teacher and you should start hanging out and all of that? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to have a one-on-one communication line open as soon as this person becomes your child's teacher. Why are you doing this? Especially for their homeroom teacher. You may not be able to do this for the teachers that are teaching them 5 subjects, 10 or 15 subjects that they do if they're in secondary school and all of that. I'm talking about that's one that is their homeroom teacher, the class teacher. That's one that is always with them. You would have 1, 2, or 3 who are always with them, depending on the school or the structure of the school where your children go to. So the first thing, you want to establish that personal touch to your relationship, and do this as early as possible. Do this at a time where the teacher is not under any form of pressure. Their parents, teachers are under pressure all year round. I can say this boldly as a teacher. So the best time you can find a teacher in their best elements, all right, is at the beginning of the school year. Am I saying teachers are grouchy and all of that? No. What I'm saying is the teacher has rested for the summer holiday. The teachers had time to rest, had time with their family, and all of that. So they've come back refreshed. In some cases, the teacher has just moved to a new school and is optimal. I mean, is optimistic, right? In some cases, the teacher is going to have a new set of children. So the teacher is open to, meeting and connecting with this new group of children. So it's a new milestone for the teacher as much as it is for the children. So you want to meet them at that point where, hi, Mr. Emmanuel, how are you doing? Thank you. Yes, sir. Mr. Emmanuel is saying strong pressure. So you see, so a teacher is usually under pressure throughout the school year. But this first 1-2 weeks, that's the time. Mind open, they want to know the children. They want to be there for the children. They want all of that. So this is why you want to take this as your joker and key in as a parent immediately. So meet your child's teacher on the first day of school. And if possible, if you can even go to school before the children resume, that's what I do. So I am planning a date to school one of these days because the kids are going back to school next Monday. So I'm going to school one of these days. And when I go to school, I won't just go and buy supplies or pick uniform. I'm going to primarily meet who their new teacher is. Now, when you go to school, meet the new teacher. Now, when you meet the new teacher, dear parents, don't meet the new teacher with your nose in the sky. Please meet the new teacher with all of the sweetness that you have. Oh my goodness, you're going to be teaching my daughter today. Oh, I'm so excited to meet you. Oh, compliment them. Oh God, I'm looking forward to an exciting year. Let the teacher know that I am in this with you. I'm here. We are here, right? If you can go with your spouse, better. All right. So let the teacher know that we are here and we are here to support you throughout the school year. Please, if you have not made up your mind as a parent that this school year you're going to be involved, you're going to be supportive of the class, supportive of the school, please go back to your prayer room and pray and make that a prayer point and tell God to teach you how. Because we have passed that era where we go to school and we drop children and we move because we are busy. We're in that era where we are involved in what is going on because we understand that it's important that the child's life in school is in sync with the child's life at home. We cannot be living two different lives. Your child is, school is school, home is home. No, it has to be in sync. It's a triangular or tripod relationship that you have with your child's teachers, please. So it's going to be you, the child, and the teacher. You have just gotten a new partnership, basically. One more support system, all right, in your support system or in your list of support system. So this is very key. So you want to meet them warmly. Please be warm. Be warm to them, meet them, and then offer your support or let them know that you are available to support them. All right. Now, it's a good time to also, give the teacher a peek into a bit of what your values are and what it is. Now, you can do this, especially if you have younger children or if you don't do this before and all of that. I don't do this per se. I let the children do this. So usually we'll come to that. All right. My children actually connect with their teacher at their own level too and make the teacher understand them. Now, I don't want to go there and go and start saying, oh, this is it. I don't take this. I don't take that. Because sometimes for a teacher, that is like, oh my goodness, I hope I'm going to have a good relationship with these parents. Teachers do not like confrontations. Teachers do not like to think that you are going to be a burden. Teachers do not like to think that, oh, I have an overbearing parent. So as much as you want to let them know that, something, I'm involved in the life of my child, and, for this child, it's not going to be anyhow. Anyhowness is not going to be accepted. As much as you want to speak that language, you want to speak that language in the most subtle way. Okay, so you don't have to go there and go and form, I am such an intentional parent. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I should get. Don't joke with me. Don't play with me. No. The simple fact that you have come, you've had that meeting with the teacher, you have offered your support, and you have told them, oh, the children are looking forward to meeting you. You have told them, oh, in your casual conversation, you have probably, for someone like me, oh my goodness, Ada is gonna give you stress because that's one, she just likes to be around the class. She's not the one to sit down. carelessly just throw, somehow you have given the teacher a peek into, what kind of child is coming to the class. That's not the time to start asking the fat. Okay, so because by this time your child already has admission to that class, so you must have asked all the serious questions before you enrolled the child. So all the serious questions you must have asked. I mean, their policies on discipline, policies, their vision, their mission as a school, all of that. You should have asked all the values that obtains in the school, and all of that. You should have asked all of that. So this first meeting is not for that seriousness. This first meeting is for once to put a personal touch to your relationship and to let the teacher know that you are here ready and willing to support whenever they need you, and all of that. And then you have given them a peek into your children, who your children are. All right, so that's number one. Number two, help your children connect with their teachers as soon as they get in or before they get in. All right, so for me, as I am going, I'm going to take a letter from my children to their teachers. I would do that because I will meet their teacher before school resumes. I will be meeting their teacher perhaps on Thursday or Friday. In our family meeting on Sunday, the children already know that everything that they need for school, every plan that they have, so they're already creating their plan for the term. They're already creating their plans and all of that for resumption back to school. So back to school is not just about buying them lunchbox and bags and all of that. That's not just what back to school is. We make this mistake year in, year out. Back to school, dear parents, is not just about you jumping up around down the place and getting the children to try clothes and all of that. Back to school is a mental, psychological exercise. Okay, the children need to be prepared psychologically, they need to be prepared physically, mentally, all of that, mental, psychological, all of that preparation, spiritually even. Your children need to be prepared to go back to school. All right, now, because I know this is a struggle, this is something that parents do not even know how to navigate a lot of the times, what I've done is we have put together a masterclass. So we put together that masterclass for the mastermind, for the children in the mastermind circle. It's part of what we do before the children go back to school. In the mastermind circle, we have this class with them where we actually talk about this thing. We help them prepare to go back to school. So we create that class for the mastermind children. We also have the people who took our 30 days challenge this year. Okay, they also have that as an extra pack. So they're going to be in that class also for free. But for those who did not do any of this, you don't belong to the mastermind, we have a small token that you will or you may have to pay for your child to be a part of this class. If you have a child that is between 7 and 13, don't miss this class, because a lot of times you just prepare the children and you prepare yourself and prepare all the items that are needed. The children are not prepared, really prepared for back to school. All right, so you want to do that. Okay, we call it, set to excel in school, right? That's what we call that class. It's happening this Friday. This Friday, that class is happening. If you have a child that's going back to boarding school on Saturday, please let them attend that class on Friday. Day student, whatever, provided your child is 7, or if your 6-year-old can sit down to a session for about 1 hour, then bring them on. It's going to be online. The child can join from wherever around the world. They can join and be a part of that class. That class is for children. It's not for you parents. It's for young children and preteens, where we want to help them prepare themselves in other ways besides just physically to go back to school. All right, so we do that. All right, so part of what as I said, the children and I already had that meeting and all of that. So our children have done this for the longest time, for over 6 years or thereabouts, where they introduced themselves. When our daughter had, after homeschool, my daughter was homeschooled for 2 years, okay, and when she was returning back to school in year 2, she's in year 5 now, when she was returning back to traditional school, all right, before she met her teacher, she had written, as in my daughter can be detailed like that. She actually told her teacher how she likes to learn, what she enjoys doing. And she said to her teacher, I actually do not like writing notes, because a lot of times I can hear and I can remember things that I hear. But my mommy makes me write notes because she says that the shortest pencil is more reliable than the sharpest mind. she's that detailed. She would drop it like that. She will write you a whole, she wrote her teacher a whole full, as in, she'll write you a whole full note, basically. So by the time you read it, when you see the children on Monday, when you see my children on the first day of school, all you're doing is, oh, this is the Adachiko. Do you understand? Oh, okay, this is you. I remember how our son's teacher last year, every time we had a one-on-one meeting with her, she was always referring to the fact that, yeah, I know, because even before, at the beginning of the school year, he already told me that he's struggling with organizing, his space, and all of that. And so the moment he got into her class, that was one of the focus that she had. The moment he got into her class, that became a focus for her, because she already knew his strength and he already knew a weakness that he had, that he identified first and he put in. So before her. So that time that the regular teacher will spend, that first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it takes about that time for the teachers to really get to know each of the children. The first week, everybody's trying to settle in, the children settling in and all of that. It takes about 2-3 weeks before the teacher begins to, identify and put traits, and personalities to each of the children, and all of that. And learning, a big prerequisite to learning is connecting to the person you're learning from. Right? The more we connect to the people we learn from, the easier it is for learning. So if a child is not connecting with a teacher, learning becomes a bit difficult. All right. So imagine that your child feels connected, or the teacher feels connected to your child as soon as the child got there. Imagine that your teacher already knows your child by week 1, right? Based on the do you understand? You have already pre-introduced yourself, something like that. So based on that pre-knowledge, the teacher already has an idea of who I am dealing with. So that teacher can go right to work, right, with that child, because they already know, oh, this is this person is like this person is like that. So we get the children to write the things that they love, the things that they struggle with, how excited they are to meet the teacher, and all of that. And sometimes they will go with with a little, so yesterday we're talking on Sunday, right? We're talking about, okay, they'll go to school, they'll go to school, a little present for their teacher, and all of that. Teach your children to appreciate their teachers. Teach your children to appreciate their teachers. I know a lot of parents, that the way your children even treat their teachers is as a result of your careless statements and the careless things that you say. I say this because I know what I'm talking about. At the time I worked at a school, right, that had a lot of privileged children, ministers and governors, and all of that kind of children. I remember one time I had walked into a class. It was a year where I was roaming. Okay, we call it. I was a resource teacher, something like that, where I stepped into every class when the teacher of that class wasn't available. So that was what I was doing. So I could be working in a grade 5 on Monday, and I'm in a grade 2 on Wednesday. So I could connect. I knew the children across elementary school, because at different points I've had to teach them and all of that. So many of them, most times they feel free with me, because I'm that kind of teacher. All right. So I walked into a class and a child actually said to me, Miss Mary Bright, is it true that you were driving a certain kind of car? Like, he actually called the name of the car and said, is it true that you were driving that car? And I'm like, it's not good. And he's like, no, you could see on his face. And then he turns and says, Abdul said he saw you driving this car. And I'm like, oh, okay. Is it bad? And he's like, no, you could see it was a case of, as in, how could you be driving that kind of car? Like, how could you be driving that kind of car? You be teacher. Why should you be able to drive that kind of car? It's not reserved for people like you. Do you understand? So why do you think that a typical that was a grade 4 class? That's a typical primary 5. What do you think a 9-year-old? Where do you think a 9-year-old would draw such conclusions from? It's the things that we say. So it's like that. It's when you go and your child complains about something, and then you go, these teachers that do not even know, and they cannot even, parents say all kinds of things. I don't know how teachers portray themselves. I don't know how parents, I don't know the feedback. I don't know what it is, where it comes from, all kinds of things. But sad thing is we say all these things before our children. So that's why a child will go and the child thinks that he has the power to actually make a teacher get fired. I've been with children at some point, and where, I was told a child actually said, right, that he's going to tell the mom so that the mom will get the teacher fired. So the children have so much power that they know that all they need to do is to say, and a teacher and the whole adults will get fired. All right. Now, am I saying there are things that teachers will do that will not require them be fired? I'm not saying that. But what conversations are we having with our children? These things are very important. All right. But rather than put your children in that place where they look down on the people who are passing knowledge, you do all of this and then you put your child in that class with that person for a whole year. Someone that you look down on, you are actually belittling your child and putting your child, giving that person that you think doesn't have any sense or doesn't have anything, you're putting that person so that the person will share and pass their mindset to your child that is supposed to be gold. Parents, we need to rethink this thing. Oh. So if your children are going to be in class with such teachers, then you will have to teach your children how to honor their teachers. So teach your children to honor their teachers, and you can show this honor by the way they speak to them, by the way they think of their needs, and how to show up with little gifts that are nothing, not anything serious. So the children were thinking, okay, what would they take? And then we were deliberating, and one of them was like, okay, a pack of markers. And I'm like, a pack of markers would be like, take marker and teach us now. It's not personal. Okay, and someone's like, oh, colored pen perhaps, and all of that. Now, what is all of this? 1K, 2K, 3K. It's not even up to pizza money. It could just be, it's just a welcome. It's a thoughtful gift from a child to a teacher on the first day of school. It not necessary, it's not like it's a must, but it's a good way to start. It's a good way of saying I'm a thoughtful person, and before I even met you, I got thinking about you. Is this to bribe the teacher? Not at all. This is basically to show the teacher that you already appreciate them and you look forward to a good relationship. And I am already thinking about you and your need. So the teacher would have no choice but to reciprocate thinking of the children and the children's need. That is why they are in her class or his class anyway. So that my need becomes important to you. My education becomes important to you. All right. So that's number two. All right. Number three is you want to establish a communication network, okay, or communication pathway for every time your child has for feedback. Sorry, you want to establish a feedback, system, right? A feedback system where you constantly know what is going on with the children. So a lot of times, if you don't emphasize on this, then the communication will just be as simple as the school makes it, or as simple as, okay, communication book. So if you have a teacher that just writes the day is good or the day was good, that's all you will hear every day. The day was good. Ada did well. Ada did well. The day was good. So the only feedback you will get as per what's going on in school is the day was good and all of that. But if you are that parent who wants to be a part of your child's life, then you want to establish more relationship, basically, with the child's teacher, where you have a system of feedback. That system of feedback could be that you decide as a family, I will stop by and have like a 5 minute, 10-minute conversation every Friday. Now establish this from the beginning of the school year. All right. Or I hope you don't mind, I will stop by once in a month, right? I will just stop by on Friday, last Friday. Establish something like that, right? Not every parent does this. So when you do this, the teacher may not have a problem with it. Now, if it's not possible for you to do this physically, or the school policy, which of course I don't understand why it should be, it's something that you should actually go back to the school authority and find out, why should I not have, a platform for feedback if I want this, basically, right? So they should be able to create this. But hey, worst case scenario, push comes to shove, you can actually have an email system where I will send an email, and then answer the questions, and then that will happen. Now you have to be consistent. Remember, you are the one that is looking for how to support your child and foster a relationship between you and the teacher. So have that system where whether it's weekly you're stopping to have a conversation, whether it's monthly you're doing that, whether you're going to be doing this feedback system through a email feedback system, do that. All right. So do all of that. Now, the next one is make up your mind, dear parents, to show up for your child throughout the school year. So it means that every time there's a class presentation, every time there's a class part and something that the children are doing where the class is involved, you are going to show some concern. Even if it means, right, it depends on the school, even if it means you stepping in and being a part of it. There are different kinds of schools and different room for this kind of relationship. Now, if there is that room where you can come in and support them with a presentation that they have, a something, if there's that opportunity that exists in your child's school, why not take it, dear parents? Create room for it. I'm sure by this time some of you are saying, don't I have my own work? You have your own work, but this is your child, and this child is your priority. All right. So we're not saying these things don't happen every week or every day. These things probably happen once in a term or twice in a term. Back then, when I was active in the classroom, we have class assembly once in a term, isn't it? Class assembly once in a term, and most times just once in a term. So that once in a term, if you are that creative parents, you are that kind of person, you can actually offer to be a part of that whole system, suggestions, find out what's going on and all of that. Also supporting them here if financially needed also comes in here. All right. Just make yourself available, right, for the class success, or the success of what your homeroom teacher is doing with your children. All right. Now, the last one I'm going to be sharing with you is so I have said, when I said have a personal touch to your relationship, all right, that is by that's something you want to do. And in that personal touch with your relationship, sometimes you will find out certain things going on in the teacher's life. If it's something that is public knowledge or school knowledge, or that the children know, and the children come back and give you feedback, oh, Mrs. A is getting married, that kind of thing. So you want to come in here, and that's a personal touch we're talking about. You are not close and frolicking with them, but basically you acknowledge them and the feedback you get, or the things that some of them you will get close that they will even say these things to you. When they do, make sure that you show up for them and all of that. Then the last one we are going to be talking about today is have a system where you, the child, and the teacher can actually sit down once in a while and where you can sit down once in a while and have a roundtable conversation. All right. So this can be in the school conference that the school plans out and all of that. But make sure that those conferences that you go for, or when you decide to have that roundtable meeting, if the school doesn't have that one-on-one conference, okay, if the school does not have a one-on-one conference between you, your child, and the teacher, you demand for it, or you create opportunity for it. Whether that opportunity is in school, or whether it is you having to go out and have a drink together on a particular day, whatever it is. Now, in that conversation, or in that meeting, come very prepared with the ups, the downs, everything. Have a system where you are constantly reviewing the child's progress, constantly reviewing what is going on, constantly sitting down together. All this other time you've been communicating with the teacher alone, but create a system where your child knows that we are in sync. Me, you, the teacher, we are in sync, and all of that. When you do this, then you prioritize the child. The child knows that the child is important in this relationship, and the child has no choice but to play their own role or their own part in this relationship. If we can do this, if we can do all of these 5 things that I've talked about today, then that is you set to have an amazing relationship with your child's teacher. So yes, if you want your child to join us at the meeting, just at the set to go to school, set to excel in school, the back to school for young children and preteens. Just keep your eyes on this page. You would have a flyer sometime today that will tell you how to join that class. All right. If you want to be a part of our peer mentorship and accountability group, the Mastermind Circle, I talked about it at the beginning. It's an ongoing thing. It is school. It is foundation school for helping your child develop personal development, executive functioning skill. We help children. We build children in every other area. All right, financial skills, public speak, everything together. We are growing together. We're helping them build themselves in all areas. 9 signature areas that we put, as we put it, skills and talents, personal development, executive functioning skills, and all of that. If you'd like to be a part of that, the Mastermind Circle, just check on your screen right now. There is that information that is scrolling. You can use that information and reach out to us, or you can send us a DM or just send us a message on our a chat. Send us a chat on WhatsApp and we will respond to you. Thank you for joining me in today's session. Sorry we took 10 minutes extra. We're sorry about that. Tomorrow we'll try to keep the show at 30 minutes. Thank you very much and see you at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow, where we come with you, to you with another episode answering another question that parents have asked us. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Bye. Bye.